make things. We use our hands, minds, and machines to build, to fix, to improve. We're known as do-it-yourselfers, home improvement fans, fix-it fanatics, inventors. At our core, though, we're all makers. So let's jump in and make something. Have you ever noticed how often our home improvement projects are inspired by a problem? Like today's show, for example. Not long ago, I plain ran out of room to store my garden tools. Well, it seemed to me the only solution was to expand. No, I didn't add on to the garage. I built a garden shed from a kit. Another problem, trekking to the mailbox in bad weather only to discover that my mail has not yet come. I found a great solution for that one. And have you admired wall paintings like this but never thought you could do them because you're just not an artist? No problem. I'll show you how. You know, when it comes to my wood shop, there's a place for all my tools, and all my tools are in their place. But I can't say the same thing for my gardening gear. So I want to put them in a gardening shed. The only problem is, I don't have one. So I'm going to build it. An online search leads me to handy home products and a shed that reminds me of a miniature barn. A few days later, it's delivered by my local home improvement center. I've picked out a spot for my shed in the backyard. So to save a lot of carrying, I have everything dropped close by. I've unpacked my kit, laid all the parts out here and checked them against the parts list. Now, I don't always do that, but it's a really good idea in a project this size. Now, this kit comes complete with everything that I'll need, except for the roofing materials and the paint. So you know what? I can't see any reason not to get started. I'm placing the shed on pressure-treated 4x4s. The floor frame, made of 2x4s, will sit right on top. Next, I nail in floor joists every 16 inches. Since everything is pre-cut, things move along pretty quickly. Then I nail the joist to the 4x4s, level the frame, and begin putting the decking on top. Floor's finished, got the decking on top. Now the next thing is to build the walls. Since the new shed floor is both flat and level, it'll make the perfect surface on which to assemble the wall sections. These parts, too, are all pre-cut. All I have to do is nail. Once the framing's done, I start on the siding. I'm working alone today, and just about now I'm starting to wonder how I'm going to get these wall sections up once they're put together.
Hey, Ron.
Hey, Peter. Hey, Alex. How you doing? Wow, I like your wheels, buddy.
What are you
building a garden shed. And I'm glad you came along, because I've been putting this wall together. I had no idea how I was going to stand it up. Can you give me a hand?
Absolutely.
Well, I can always count on Peter to lend a hand when I need it. The same goes for his 5-year-old son, Alex. With the wall in position, I attach a simple brace to hold it upright. Alex, though, is not content just to carry the lumber. He wants hands-on tool time.
There you go.
With the wall braced, Peter nails it to the floor. Then it's on to number 2. Yeah, think of the old barn raising. There we go.
Good job.
There you go. Good. Okay. All right. Now come down to me if you could. That's right. Good. Okay, Peter. All right. Number 3. Not too bad, huh?
No, this is good.
Come on down. Okay. All right, guys. I'd say we got ourselves a building. We finished the nailing just as the sun's beginning to drop behind the trees. Well, Alex, I think we'll call this a day. What do you say? Good job, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Got 4 walls up. Put the roof up tomorrow. You gonna be around?
sure will. I'll come by.
Today is roof day. I start by attaching 2x6s to the tops of the walls. Now this morning, at least, I'm on my own again, so I'll need some good advanced planning to deal with the rafters. First, I set them in place upside down. Then flip them up one by one and toenail them into the 2x6s I just installed.
Well, it's really starting to look like a shed. Actually, a small barn. I like it. Now, with these rafters up, the next step for me is to start putting on the roof sheathing.
Right now, the rafters are being held in place only by the toenailing. But as soon as I attach this 5/8" sheathing, the whole roof assembly will become rock solid. The gable ends come in 2 sections. I nail up the first one, install a cleat, then put up the other half. The trim, which is all pre-cut and primed, covers any remaining raw wood, unfinished surfaces, and joints. The shed door comes pre-hinged, but it's heavy and will be a bit awkward to hold in position. So Peter and I use a couple of adjustable clamps to jack it into place and secure it, while we fasten the hinge rail with nails and screws. Other trim pieces, like these cross braces, will add to the barn look of the shed.
That's it, that's teamwork, man.
Sure is.
Good job.
The simulated hayloft door adds another bit of interesting detail. Inside, I've got a little modifying to do. I start by removing a section of stud wall. Windows were an option for the shed, and I ordered 2. I like the idea of letting in some additional light, and I think they'll add detail to the exterior and interest to what otherwise would be pretty plain walls. To install the windows, I need to first frame out what will be the window opening. Once that's complete, I bore from the inside out at all 4 corners. Then, insert a jigsaw into the holes and begin cutting away the siding. Well, I've got the opening. Now that inevitable moment of truth. Do I have a fit? I do. This tool caddy, also an option, simply screws onto the back wall of the shed. Since the roofing materials are not included in the kit, I picked them up from my nearby home improvement center. Nailing on the metal drip edge is the first step in roofing my building. We lay the first strip of roofing paper on top of the drip cap. Hammer tackers allow us to keep one hand free for holding as we staple. The second strip overlaps the first. This ensures that any water will run off the edge of the roof and not get underneath the paper. Although they may look intimidating, shingles are fairly straightforward to install. Again, I begin at the bottom, overlapping each course and staggering the seams. This pneumatic roofing nail gun, which can be rented, really speeds things up. Overhanging shingles are trimmed off using a utility knife. My shed came already primed, which makes painting a bit less time-consuming. And under the heading of window dressing, a bit of trim, shutters, and planter boxes. Finally, it's up on the rooftop, because no self-respecting barn would be complete without a cupola. This one, of course, is purely decorative. And a weather vane. After all, you guys got to know which way the wind's blowing. Well, that pretty much does it. The tool caddy is going to take care of my rake and shovel storage, and I think I know how I want to use the inside.
Hey, you know, when you got a shed as good as this, it seems like kind of a waste to use it just for storing tools. Now, it's not that far from the house out here to the mailbox, but it's far enough that I don't want to make this trip unnecessarily, especially when the weather's bad. So that got me to thinking, is there some kind of a device out there that would alert me when the mail comes, so that when I do make that trek, I know, in fact, I've got mail.
Sure enough, an internet search turned up this product called Mail Alert. This wireless device has a small battery-operated transmitter that attaches to the inside of the mailbox lid, and a receiver that plugs into any household electrical outlet. When the mail delivery person lowers the mailbox lid, a sensor sends a signal to the receiver inside. An audible tone sounds and a light flashes, letting me know the mail has arrived.
Well, my mailbox alert system won't keep me from having to come out in the weather, but at least when I do, I'll know that there's mail here. Well, it looks like I got that garden shed done just in time for some winter storage. So you know what? I think I'm going to head south to Cary, North Carolina. Now, Tony Caldwell wants to learn how to be an artist. And as a matter of fact, so do I. Can you imagine decorating your home with this beautiful painting? Seems like that chicken is perched right on top of that frame. Well, believe it or not, most of these are created with stencils. Now, I'm no artist, but I've been told even I'll be able to turn out works of art like this. I'm about to find out as I arrive at the home of Tony Caldwell.
Ron.
Good morning,
come
Tony.
on in.
How are
Welcome.
you?
Thank you. Great. How are you?
Very nice. Oh, this is a lovely house.
Thank you.
Very interesting. This is an octagonal living room over here.
Yeah, the man who built this room actually won some awards for it.
Really? I can see why.
Tony has big plans to decorate the walls of her daughter's room, so we've agreed to meet at her house for a lesson. Our instructor is a friend of mine, an accomplished stencil artist and teacher, Janet Phelps.
You know, when I first saw that work in your house, I thought it was all hand-painted. I was amazed to learn that that was stenciling.
Well, that's the new trompe-l'oeil.
Janet went on to explain that trompe-l'oeil is French for trick of the eye, which is the effect we're trying to achieve. First, we pour out dollops of artist's acrylic paint. Then Janet shows us the basic brush strokes on regular paper.
When you load your brush, you must always wipe it off so that you don't overload your stencil and it runs underneath your stencil. And the first stroke that I'm going to show you, you hold your brush perpendicular and you make just circle strokes. And it gives you a very smooth finish. And then we're going to do the stipple stroke. And that's straight up and down. This is pretty simple so far, isn't it?
The secret to the convincing, lifelike wall paintings we're about to create are these precisely cut, thin plastic stencils.
So what I want you to do right now is find overlay 1.
Our paintings will require 3 or 4 stencils, or overlays.
After being taped in position, paint is applied. The first stencil is then removed, and a second overlay is taped in position, using small dots as registration marks.
It's a little pinhole marked with an R.
After painting, it's replaced with overlay 3, and so on. Each overlay uses a different paint color. Plastic stencil sets like these cost between $10 and $200. They can be used not only on walls, but also on mirrors, frames, and accessories.
I feel like I'm creating a masterpiece. I feel like a real artist.
Tony and I are ready to reveal our paintings. It's almost magical.
Ta-da!
Wow.
There's just one more detail to add.
What I will show you now is putting the shadows in, and if there's a hard part in stenciling, this is it. You run down the side of your bucket with your angle brush like this.
Shadowing takes a steady hand, but done right, it really adds dimension to the picture.
Very good.
I really feel like a pro now.
Well, I think they look wonderful, and I think you're both ready to move on to Alexandra's room.
Now we head up to Tony's daughter's room to apply our newly learned skills. Tony paints her heart stencil, while I start on a goose. At least it'll look like a goose when it's finished. Once again, we mark our registration points for each of the successive overlays.
I'm having the best time. Oh, wow, that's really looking beautiful.
Janet helps Tony with one last detail.
Up here, that's beautiful. Slowly, easy.
Oh, how beautiful.
It's magnificent.
All right. Look at that. Huh?
Beautiful.
Even better than the last one, I
It
think.
is perfect.
I paint in some grass and then add shadows to the goose. Just in time for Tony's daughter, 4-year-old Alexandra, to add her own touch. We're all very pleased with our creations.
Oh, he's wonderful.
I am so excited about what we have created here, Ron, today. It's really fantastic.
It's going to cut loose now and stencil the entire house.
I am ready to stencil the house and the world.
Thanks so much for having me over.
Thank
It's
you
a lot of
very much
fun.
for coming. It was a great day.
American novelist E.L. Doctorow said, "Creativity is like driving a car at night. You can never see further than your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way." When we take on home improvement projects that stretch our abilities, the experience is much the same. We may not know exactly how we're going to do the whole thing, but we can figure it out one step at a time. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
To view today's projects again, visit ronhazelton.com, where you'll find hundreds of how-to videos available 24/7.